All right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and Shalom to the men of the Lord that are prophesying, preaching, and teaching on the highways and byways in sincerity and in truth. Shalom Barakatham. And this is going to be a lesson on the man of sin being revealed, and that's going to be very evident by this news reporter guy is going to go into. I haven't watched the whole video, but I saw a snippet on it on one of the elders' videos, and I said I was just speaking on a subject similar to this, so let me go ahead and go in on it, because that's where the Spirit is leading. But first I'll get this precept. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come." That day is talking about the day of the Lord, the end of the world, so to speak. All right. "For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Now, it does beg the question. You can do a whole camp lesson, a whole 3-4 hour sit down on who Esau is and who the man of sin is, who the wicked is. All right, and we can go into the Bible and to prophecy and tie these things up with history to prove who this man of sin is, okay? And the son of perdition, unlike some camps who will break this down as these being Israelites, which is completely off, man. Just because Jake was wicked and is wicked for a period of time doesn't mean that he's what's colloquially known as in the scriptures as the wicked, all right? The Lord speaks about our situation, and it actually explains why we're getting so much punishment right now. All right. But verse 4, it says, "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worship, so that he as a power, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." And that's ultimately what he wants to be, is the Most High. And this video is going to break that down. I'll reread this and get a few other precepts, Lord willing, it's edifying. All right. See here.
Jesus is fake news, and that God is dead, according to the World Economic Forum, who have also declared that Jesus is fake news, and that WEF leaders have acquired divine powers to rule over humanity. According to the WEF, a new one world religion has arrived, and it unites all of humanity in worshipping at the altar of climate science.
Now, did you hear that? He says, God is dead, Jesus is fake news. All right. And we know these are terms that so-called Christians use, God and Jesus. We go by the name of the Heavenly Father and his Son, which is Yahweh. All right. We say Yahweh Bahashem in the name, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh in the name of his only begotten Son. All right. Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, which is the Messiah. All right. But when they say God is dead and Jesus is fake news, that's really what they're talking about, the real entities of the book, although it's colored in the language, all right, of English, But you just heard him, man. This describes this guy to a T, man. Who else is doing shit like this? Who else has the mind, they have the world, you have in the movies, or TV shows, you have what you call a supervillain, all right? And his job is for global domination. That's this guy, man. Except he's a pussy. Because he's not just going to make war on people. He's got to try to sell you on things and release books and do press conferences. And he slowly takes over, your nation. He offers you all of these benefits to join the UN and things of that nature. All right. And then what do you get on the back end of it? Basically, you get put into slavery. All right.
Techno-communism and eugenics. If you find it hard to believe Klaus Schwab's WEF would go this far, you clearly haven't been paying attention to developments in recent times. Klaus Schwab's right-hand man, Yuval Noah Harari, has announced that the WEF has been so successful in its plans that it's acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. The blasphemy doesn't stop there. Harari also promises that the WEF will turn humans into gods.
Developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
The W.
Right? You see that? All right. You see power and miracles. This is all, it all links up to the scriptures, man. This is Revelation 13 and 14. It says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth. And when it says, and deceiveth them, it's just talking about that beast. As a matter of fact, I'll just go to it. All right. The beast from the earth. All right. You can say, now I beheld another beast come out of the earth. He had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. All right. All right. This is basically the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. Now, this is the America. We tell you that these two horns on this lamb represents their left and right philosophies: the conservative, the Republican, the liberal, conservative, Republican, red, blue, left wing, right wing. They're two ideologies that give the appearance of democracy, which is the softer lamb side of it, right? It gives you the appearance that you have a right to vote and things like that. But what's really happening? Okay. The dragon really speaks, all right? Then you really get to see, when you go through all of the minutiae of all of the laws and the tax codes and the housing laws and zoning law, you really see that he's draconian against Jake. On the surface level, it seems like, yeah, America's the land of the free, but when you dive deep and you look into housing association laws and you look into tax laws, you look into real estate zoning, all right? You look into prison laws, mandatory minimums. All right. All of these things, you when you look at his war, all right, that's the dragon is really speaking, okay? But it gives you that facade of it, all right? But it says, verse 12, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. And this is talking about the original Roman Empire, all right? And causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. All right. Because all of this is Roman law. It's all Roman customs, culture, everything in America. All right. And everyone worships it, man. Christmas. All right. Valentine's Day. All of this stuff it's all Roman religion. Okay. It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. All right. So that's what you're seeing right before us, man. He said we've achieved divine power. All right. So the scriptures were completely on point, man. This is exactly what's happening. All right. It says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. All right. So he's basically going to put out an edict to command you to worship his old way, man. All right. And look at the main part. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. All right. And cause that as many as would not worship the image should be killed. Okay. So that's what's coming next. And we know Revelation 13 and 16, this goes into his execution of it. All right. With the charagma, no buying or selling. All of that's coming, man. And this book right here that he had in his hand, this guy, Schwab, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. You see it right here? That's all in there. The whole plan. He wrote a book about it. He's proud. Look at him. You see?
developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
The WEF is also increasingly hostile to Christianity and other major religions. If you read between the lines just a little, it's clear that the WEF is consciously attempting to supplant Jesus.
I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news.
Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that
You see how he looks. You see how he you see how he sees you. All right. These people that you're defending, that you're working so hard to live under. All right. This guy is a small hat, by the way. All right. He has no problem thinking less of you. Okay. Seeing you as animals, something to be hacked and controlled. They ultimately gonna have everybody as livestock, man. That's where it's going if Yahushua doesn't return, which we know it's written that he will.
humans have, you know, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will, and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
He said that's over. You see how fucking proud these devils are, man. That's how we know who we talking about, man. The Bible is on point, man. The scriptures are on point. That's how you know exactly what time we're in. You know exactly who we're talking about and exactly what's going to happen next if you have the breakdowns. And the Spirit is with you to receive it.
To the WEF, Jesus is fake news, God is dead, and you do not have a soul. You are a hackable animal who does not have the capacity for free will. The World Economic Forum has spent decades quietly infiltrating democratically elected governments, penetrating cabinets, and wielding an outsized influence on the world from the corridors of Schwab's Swiss hideout in Davos.
So that we penetrate the...
Real quick, Isaiah 14 and 14, 14 and 12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations, and the nations are very weakened. All right, and this is the only time in history where the entire globe and nation is able to interact with each other. That's never happened, not in the Roman Empire, not in any empire before that, did the entire world in communication with each other at the same time, under the same currency even. All right, showing you that the blessing of Isaac, that Esau get the fatness of the earth. All right, it's happening now. More proof. All right, that who Esau Edom is, man. All right. It says, verse 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. And he's doing that with SpaceX and all this other bullshit. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. All right, now where is the north? When you read about that land of the north, all right, you see that it's always closely tied with these so-called European Edomite nations, man. All right, either Europe or what's colloquially known as the West today, which is Europe, NATO. All right, and the Americas, basically. Okay, basically Esau. It says, verse 14, the main point, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. All right, so that's what that's him, man. Who else could say some shit like this, man?
The cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
These tyrants have now become arrogant and sure of their own success. They are no longer hiding in the shadows and pulling puppet strings from behind the curtain. According to Schwab, it is his role to shape the transformation of the world in the current period. And unsurprisingly, he admires the Chinese system of state control authoritarianism.
On the G20, you were there meeting some of the leaders as well. Professor Schwab, what do you make of the result? Finally, they put something as a statement, and it seems quite positive with all the voices included.
I think it's positive. It's already positive through the fact that everybody agreed about the statement, which we haven't had the last years. Now the base has been formed, but we have to go one step further. We have to have a strategic mood. We have to construct the world of tomorrow. It's a systemic transformation of the world. So we have to define how the world should look like.
You see that? We have to define how the world is. See, they're not asking permission from anybody. Now, alarm bells should be going off in people's heads saying, wait a minute, what gives you the power to decide how the world and the globe needs to move systemically? All right. What gave you the authority to say that the world needs artificial engineering? You see? He said we got to go one step further. Well, based on whose authority? See, that's a question you other nations should be asking, but you're not. All right. And this is how the devil works, man. He dresses up in a nice suit and tie. He speaks softly. All right. But what is he really doing? You see? Psalms 10. Start at verse 2. The wicked in his pride do persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. They've definitely imagined devices, man. And this is going to hurt the poor. They really want Jake, but a lot of these other nations, they're poor, man. If Esau was really a righteous ruler, man, there wouldn't really be any third world countries. All of these nations would know how to use the natural resources of their lands to better themselves. They would know how to do it. But do they? No. What do you have? Esau coming in, building a factory, extracting the resources from them while the people in that country stays poor. They're fighting each other over power. One leader gets out of line. He stages a coup and sets up another one, man. And those people are poor, man, on their own merit. Now, do we really give a damn about the heathen? No. But it's still a shame that that everyone has to suffer because of the guy that's in charge, man. All right. Even the earth is suffering. And we're going to clean it up, man. All right. Verse 3, it says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire and blessed the covetous whom the Lord Yahweh abhorreth, man. He's blessing the worst of the worst, man. The Rainbow Coalition. All right. He's blessing demonic activities. Look at the head of energy in Biden's cabinet, that Decepticon that's was the Secretary of Interior or something like that. You see, those people blessed, man. He's boasting. We have the power of gods. We can make humans into gods. You see all this? His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. Salaki, I skipped the main point I wanted. Psalms 10 and 4, it says, the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts, man. That's how we know what we're dealing with, man. That's how we know that he's the wicked, that he's the son of perdition, the man of sin, the border of wickedness. All right, Satan, the devil, Esau. He's got many monikers. All right, over the years, white people is his most recent one. Before that, he was known as the Romans. Before that, he's known as the Greeks. Okay, and you'll find Esau sprinkled about throughout history and his name changing and things like that. But when you read through prophecy, it all tracks this guy, man. From his birth, from the moment he was given his blessing. All right. From his birth to how he looked to his blessing to all of the times in history where he was in power and taken out of power, man. You see? And his latter end is already proclaimed through the prophecies. All right. I won't play any more of this. This guy. He's gonna be on the plantation soon, man. You know.
Take a look at Brazil for a glimpse of the future. President Bolsonaro's supporters are protesting what they claim to be a wildly unfair and corrupt election. WEF favourite Lula
Snatching kids from people who see. You see this Karagma 666 here in his organization here. Right? Last precept, man, it's Psalms 30. Not Psalms, Proverbs 30 and 13. It says, there is a generation, oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. All right? Because these guys that have this idea that there will be like the Most High, they're going to go out and have interstellar space, and they're going to colonize Mars, and they're going to upgrade every human, and they're going to open portals and all these different things. That's folly, man. But that's this generation. That's Esau's generation that's alive today. That's how he's getting down. Verse 14. There is a generation whose teeth are as swords. All right, and their jaw teeth as knives. You see. So these words, man, are gonna fuck a lot of people up. All they gotta do is say anti-S. You're a phobe. You got this phobia. And all of a sudden you're in prison. All of a sudden you have an entire generation of women whose minds have been poisoned, making them think it's a good thing to take their child into the spirit world, making them think it's a good thing to rebel against men, to go out and get 30 rods, go 30 for 30. All right. Now they're 30 years old and can't find a man. They're ran through. They're ruined. All from the words and the marketing and the magic of this place, man. All right. That's why we got to get out of it. That's why we need deliverance. It's a miracle we even woke up, man. You know, that's a miracle in itself. It says to devour the poor from off the earth and the needy from among the men. All right. It says, the horse leech have two daughters crying, give, give. There are three things that are never satisfied. Yeah, four things say not, it is enough. The grave, the barren womb, the earth that is not filled with water, and the fire that saith not, it is enough. All right. So that's this guy, man. He's part of that idea of I can't get enough. There's never enough. He can discover every species of flowers and plants on the earth and understand exactly what they're meant to do and how they heal the body. He can understand all of that. And you know what? He's still going to say, wait a minute, I can make something better. Let me cut this open and move this with that and that and that. All right. It says, verse 17, the eye that mocketh at his father and despiseth to obey his mother, the ravens of the valley shall pick it out. All right. It says, and the young eagles shall eat it. You see? So that's what this guy basically has coming, man. You know? This is that generation of the people with lofty eyes, man. So I'll end it there, man. This video is called Klaus Schwab, God is Dead, and the WEF is Acquiring Divine Powers. You see that video there? All right. So Lord willing, this was edifying. You know, you I can post precepts down there below, man, if you have them, man. So Lord willing, this was edifying. Call hello Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rachak Wadash Wa Abad Babal and Shalom.